Greetings folks, today we have a first hands-on with the new 600mm f4S lens for Nikon Z mount. This guy has the 1.4 teleconverter built in, which will get you out to 860mm at f5.6, which is the longest, fastest range that you can possibly get, really. This guy has a bunch of new technology, including their new Silky Swift AF, which sounds kind of funny. It's got ED elements, super ED elements, it's got a fluorite element, nanocrystal coating, fluorine coating, and something called miro-aphorus coating, which is meant to be great for backlighting, which I think is going to be a big plus, because when you're shooting with these kind of lenses, you don't always get the choice. Do you want side lighting, backlighting, or front lighting? You have to take what's available. It's also significantly lighter than previous generations at 3.2 kilograms, but at $15,500, this really has a niche market, right? And you have a few other options within that spectrum, like this guy, the 400mm f2.8. It also has the TC built in, it's even lighter, and it's $1,500 cheaper. You can see significantly smaller as well. So whilst we're going to be doing a first hands-on test of this guy, I will mix in the 400 to see how they compare, because if all you need is 600mm, this at least gets you to 560 at f4, so a reasonable option. Let's check them out. I tell you, the difficulty with long lenses, apart from being so expensive, you only kind of want to get one, but if you're shooting birds, you just can't get long enough. 800mm usually isn't long enough. Here, shooting soccer in the middle of the field, I'm on the edge, 600 is a bit too long. I can just get the woman head to toe in, but the man, being a foot taller, I can't get his whole body in the shot. You're gonna do some lunge, like some squats.
Oh no, it's already started. Yep. My hair. Okay.
Fine.
Good. Ready? Okay.
Your hair's
Ready. Okay.
So surprise, honey's back.
Hi.
Your hair's looking
I'm
great,
back.
by the way. So we're going to just test this guy out. I want to see how that miro-aphorus coating does with some flare. The sun isn't that low in this shot, but we'll see what we can get with it. So can I get you to go along the center line? That's nice and easy. And just start by doing some stretches.
Okay.
And then we'll do some running and stuff later once you're warmed up and ready to melt your makeup.
Okay.
Nice one. So I'm going to give you guys sample files from the 600 as well to compare with the 400. I'll give you a link below. You can download the full raw files over at learn.artnoob. Another thing I love about these modern lenses is the built-in TC. I think it may be the best thing about the new generation, to be honest. It's such a trade-off, and anyone shooting would know this, whether you're doing long lenses or not. The compromise between zooms and primes can be a really difficult one to decide. If you know an 85mm prime is going to work for you, great. But other times the 70-200 just gives you so much more coverage. It's the same with these lenses. Like I said, if I'm shooting birds, I want as long as possible. But if one lens in front of me and I've got a 600mm on, I'm out of luck. Having this, it's not a zoom, but it gives me the two options with a really minimal degradation in image quality. So when I want to get just a tighter shot, I can throw the TC down. When they come closer, I want to get a wider shot, I can throw the TC off again, and you get those two different focal lengths. So now you're not just thinking about 600 versus 400, you're thinking about 600 and 860 versus 400 and 560 as a pair on each lens. something I love about these modern lenses, this has 4 programmable buttons around here, as well as a memory set button and a function button. So you can really customize these a lot to the kind of shooting that you're doing. It's also got a control ring on the lens, manual focus override, and of course this guy is taking drop-in filters. These ones are 46 mil. Okay, these are going great, but I really want to get some backlight. So I'm going to take both cameras and basically go the opposite side of her. Easy way to see is where's the shadow being cast, go in the direction of that shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna now start with the TC engage while she's further away. As she gets closer, take it off and see how close we can get. So when you're ready, sir, I'm ready, you signal her. You put your eye to the viewfinder.
Why in my shoulder looks good, looks better than last time.
I just checked my physics, not the photos.
Well, that's fine. I'm sure Ernest was only looking at your running style. Let's get some shots here with her running at full speed. Again, 600, 860. I'll go up to a higher frames per second, this time with side light rather than that rear light.
My skins look really silky. Is it?
Silky is the word of the day.
Yeah, I cannot make another word.
Smooth and glowing
smooth.
So that could be, sometimes skin looks smooth because lenses aren't that sharp, which some people like the look of it. They like just, you don't see every little dot and skin detail. So, but on the back of the camera, you can't really tell. I have to say, for you guys at home, the 600 is exceptional, but I'm gonna have to put the 400 away because I enjoy it that much more, and through the viewfinder, it looks that much more beautiful. That said, let's head in, take a look at the images, and then I'm gonna go out and go to a bird park, and I'll only take the 600 for that one so we can see how it does. Okay folks, that was a really fun day filming with Honey. It's actually a few days later now. I've had a chance to look at the images. I've already been out to shoot with the birds, but I'll still give you this kind of wrap up as if it were in sequence. Now, one thing I noticed shooting the sports and Honey was that I missed focus a lot more with the 600mm than I was with the 400. And no, it's not that I had the settings wrong. I'm pretty well across the Nikon system, especially the Z9. I even have the setup guide that will walk you through every single camera in the system and how to get the most out of it. My observations were, and I have to say, I was shooting with the Z9 using firmware 3.00, and I've since updated to 3.01, and it is a bit better. But things that were further from the camera, it missed more often. Things that were moving towards the camera, it missed more often, and when I had the internal TC engage, it missed more often, relative to things that were static or closer, or to using the 400. That is what it is, but as I'll talk to you a bit later, in some situations it was doing fantastically, and with the new firmware, it's doing fantastically as well. So make sure you have your firmware updated and check out my user guide. Now, looking at the images, I think the 600 is optically close to the 400 2.8, and being more expensive, you might think it's going to be even better. But when you think about length to aperture, something like my 200 f2 seems absurd, but actually a 400 2.8 is significantly better. If you put a 1.4 TC to my 200 f2, it becomes a 280 2.8. Whereas you have a 400 2.8, so it's a full stop faster relative to the focal length. And the 600 f4 is another half a stop faster again, so it is a massive chunk. Overall, from shooting it could be a combination of what I was shooting and the firmware, but I definitely prefer the results and the shooting experience with the 400. Fast forwarding to the day we went out to shoot birds, where what you really want is length. It didn't all go to plan. I'll let future me explain what happened to you. Well, let me give you a quick summary of our day. It's 2 o'clock. We went to a bird reserve. They weren't open. The ticket office wasn't open. We ended up walking around for an hour to find a taxi. Now we've come to a second bird reserve that's not that too far away, and there seems to be no birds, even though it's peak time for the migration. This is a fake smile. At least I don't have an office job. We weren't about to give up though, so we kept wandering around, just seeing what we could find. This park had a couple of blinds, and you know, to be fair, before we got denied at the first bird park, I did actually get some kind of interesting shots, some decent birds that were just outside of the park, including a kingfisher, which you don't see too often, which was really nice to see how it would keep up with tracking him as he took a little dip in the water. So far, a really disappointing turnout of birds, but I have to say the focus on this combo is pretty exceptional. There's occasionally times when a bird's like 5% of the frame and it's not facing you that it doesn't pick it out, it's just a white blob. But once you pull it to be about in focus, then it picks it up and stays with it. And otherwise, birds just miles away. Once I've got the TC engaged, it's picking them out and staying with their eye, no problem. So in that regard, it's doing great. I just wish we had more variety to show you guys. Some of the later blinds that we went to, we had better luck. To be honest, there was really only 2 or 3 birds that were of interest. But here, the 860mm, to be honest, I could have still done with 1,000 or more to really fill the frame with them. But we did get some nice ones, and again, some nice sequences as they took off. You can see some really great detail through the feathers. I'll just share a few of what I got here. It wasn't the cornucopia I was hoping for, but better than nothing. So you can see in those images I was shooting mostly with the internal TC engaged, and there, with the birds being still or moving basically along the focal plane, not coming towards me, it was doing great, and I'm really impressed with the results of the 600. I can tell you now that I've also been out to shoot the tennis recently. They had an international here in Hong Kong, and I'm going to have a video comparing like 6 different super telephoto lenses at that event so we can get into it more. But for now, do check out the sample files. If you're in the Nikon ecosystem, do check out the Nikon Z setup guide. That's my best-selling course, and it's had only great feedback. It'll help you get the most out of your gear, whatever you're using, whether it's these giant telephotos or the kit lens that came with your entry-level camera. Any questions? Let me know, and I'll see you soon.